All right, ready to dive into Think and Grow Rich?
Yeah, let's do it.
This deep dive is all about Napoleon Hill and those fascinating audio excerpts you shared.
Really digs into some powerful ideas about wealth.
The book claims it's uncovered the secrets to making serious money.
Used by over 500 successful people, no less.
And it all comes back to, get this, Andrew Carnegie.
The steel magnate himself.
Apparently, he shared some wisdom with Hill
About harnessing the power of thought.
to create real, tangible riches.
Sounds kind of wild, right?
A bit, yeah. But then you hear about guys like Edwin Barnes.
Ah, Barnes. Quite a story.
He managed to become Thomas Edison's business partner.
Just through desire and persistence.
I mean, he was obsessed with working with Edison.
But they didn't even know each other.
And Barnes couldn't even afford to travel to meet him.
Hopping freight trains just to get to Edison's office.
Now that's commitment.
Serious commitment. And when he finally did meet Edison...
It wasn't his resume that got him in, was it?
Nope, not at all. It was pure, unwavering desire.
Edison saw something in him.
A man who wouldn't give up on his goal.
But it wasn't an overnight partnership.
Oh, no, definitely not.
He had to pay his dues.
Started with menial tasks, but never lost sight of the big picture.
And that's where those 6 steps come in.
Hill's 6 steps to transmuting desire into, well, wealth.
Barnes' story really brings those steps to life, huh?
It's a perfect illustration.
All right, so let's break down these steps. What's the first one?
You got to be specific. Define exactly how much money you want.
Not just, I want to be rich.
Right, an actual number.
Like Barnes visualizing himself as Edison's partner.
Exactly. That was his precise goal.
Okay, what's next?
Determine what you're willing to give in return.
There's always a trade-off.
Absolutely. An exchange of value.
And step 3.
A deadline. Set a definite date for achieving your goal.
Add some pressure.
Creates that sense of urgency.
Makes it real.
Then step 4. A plan.
Can't just sit around wishing. Right?
You got to have a detailed plan.
And start taking action. Like now.
Immediately. Step 5. Write it down.
Like a contract with yourself.
A clear, concise statement of your desire.
Amount, deadline, the whole deal.
And finally, step 6.
Let me guess. Share it with the world.
Not quite. Read your statement aloud, twice, daily.
Morning and night.
With absolute belief that it will happen.
Wow. So Barnes was basically living these steps without even knowing it.
It's remarkable, isn't it?
He knew what he wanted, was willing to work for it.
And constantly visualized himself as Edison's partner.
And Hill says that both Andrew Carnegie and Thomas Edison endorsed these steps.
Adds a whole other level of credibility.
But it's not just about desire and taking action, is it?
There's another crucial element. Faith.
Hill calls it the head chemist of the mind.
It's what activates the subconscious.
And connects us with a power.
Beyond ourselves.
The bridge between thought and, well, making it happen. So you're saying it's not enough to just want something badly and make a plan. You have to truly believe you can achieve it.
You have to have faith in the process, faith in yourself.
This reminds me of that analogy Hill uses about the criminologist.
How even just being around crime too much can warp your thinking?
Yeah, repeated exposure leads to acceptance, even a desire to participate.
And it's the same with our thoughts.
Focus on negativity and doubt,
Oh.
and that's what your mind manifests.
It's a powerful concept.
It really is. Makes you wonder, what are we feeding our minds every day? Seeds of doubt or seeds of possibility?
That's the question, isn't it?
It's a question that hit home for me when my son, Blair, was born.
What happened?
He was born without ears.
Oh, wow.
The doctors told us he'd never hear or speak properly.
That must have been incredibly difficult.
It was devastating. But you know, from the moment he was born, I had this unwavering faith that he would hear and speak.
You refused to accept those limitations.
I had to, for him and for myself. I knew that if I wanted Blair to believe he could hear and speak, I had to believe it too. I had to get that belief into his subconscious somehow.
How'd you approach that?
Well, I started telling him stories.
Just stories.
Not just any stories. They were carefully crafted, designed to plant these seeds of self-reliance, imagination, and of course, a burning desire to hear and speak.
So you were using stories to shape his beliefs.
Exactly. Rewriting the narrative, replacing limitation with possibility. One story in particular was about this young boy who turned his disability into an advantage.
Powerful stuff.
And you know what? It started to work. Blair never developed any self-consciousness about not having ears.
He embraced it.
As part of who he was. And then, as he got older, we noticed his hearing was actually improving. He
Really?
could pick up on certain sounds. It just fueled my belief that he could eventually hear and speak normally.
A sign that your efforts were working.
Absolutely. But the real turning point, it came when Blair was about 7 years old.
7 years old. What happened then?
Blair, he had this burning desire to sell newspapers,
Like a little entrepreneur.
just like his older brother.
Makes sense.
But his mother, she was worried
Hmm.
about his safety, naturally.
I can imagine.
But Blair, he was insistent.
Determined little guy.
So one afternoon, while we were out, he
Took matters into his own hands.
keeled right out the kitchen window,
Oh, wow.
got some capital from our kind shoemaker down the street,
Resourceful.
and went into business for himself.
No way.
We came home to find him fast asleep, clutching his earnings in his little fist.
That's amazing. He really embodies that spirit of think and grow rich, doesn't he?
He really does. And it wasn't just about the newspapers,
It was about overcoming obstacles.
Exactly. Creating his own opportunities.
Yeah.
And that spirit, it just stayed with him. Blair excelled in school, even though he couldn't fully hear the teachers.
You kept him in a regular school.
We insisted on it.
Yeah.
Wanted him to have a normal life.
A good choice, it seems.
He thrived. Proved that, well, limitations are often self-imposed.
We create our own boundaries.
But his hearing, it was still a challenge. He tried all sorts of hearing aids.
Nothing worked.
Nothing seemed to stick. It felt like we hit a wall.
I can imagine the frustration.
But then, during his final week of college,
18 years after that initial operation.
18 years, something incredible happened.
Tell me.
Blair received this new type of electrical hearing device,
A new technology.
brand new, sent to him on a trial basis. He was hesitant at first,
Understandable after so many disappointments.
but something pushed him. He put it on, connected the battery, and he could hear.
Wow. That's a game changer.
He could hear his mother's voice clearly on the phone,
Amazing.
follow his professors in class.
After all those years.
He could even enjoy the radio, those
Mhm.
talking pictures he'd only experienced silently.
That's incredible. The culmination of years of desire, faith, perseverance.
It really was. And overwhelmed with joy. Blair did something remarkable. He wrote a letter to the hearing aid manufacturer.
Sharing his story.
A heart felt better. And, Hill talks about creative visualization, right?
Manifesting your reality through thought.
And I think by sharing his story, Blair was affirming his success.
Inspiring others in the process.
And his letter, it ignited something within that company. They saw Blair's potential.
As an advocate.
For others struggling with hearing loss, they invited him to New York, showed him their factory, the whole operation.
They were impressed.
And during a conversation with their chief engineer, this brilliant idea struck Blair. He realized he could use his experience to help others.
Empower others to overcome their challenges.
Exactly. Blair spent months researching the hearing aid market, planning how to reach people globally, even developed a 2-year plan
To share his story.
to advocate for the use of hearing devices. And the company, they were blown away, offered him a position to implement his plan. His passion ended up transforming their entire approach to marketing and outreach.
From personal triumph to industry-wide impact.
It's remarkable, isn't it? And the story comes full circle in a way. Both Blair and I ended up attending this class where deaf-mute individuals were learning to hear and speak.
Using those same principles.
The very same principles of faith and autosuggestion.
That's power.
Seeing these individuals overcome what many believed to be impossible, it was incredible.
Proof that Think and Grow Rich isn't just about making money.
It's about pushing past those limitations we set for ourselves.
And Blair's story, it's a perfect example of that.
It really is. But Hill doesn't just focus on individual triumphs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Think and Grow Rich also offers this blueprint for achieving success on a grander scale.
On a larger stage.
And one of the best examples is the story of Charles M. Schwab.
And the creation of the United States Steel Corporation.
A billion-dollar idea, literally.
Let's hear it. It's amazing how Hill weaves all these stories together. You got Barnes, Blair, Schwab, even Gandhi, all tapping into these principles of thought and belief.
And it's not just about money, is it? It's about personal transformation. Like Hill is saying, we can shape our own reality.
Exactly. Think and Grow Rich gives us the tools.
And to think, he wrote this during the Depression.
People were desperate for hope.
And Hill says, hey, don't just think positive, take action.
Use your thoughts, your beliefs to build a better future.
He saw the Depression, as a chance for a new beginning.
A chance to rebuild.
And he believed in the power of faith and cooperation.
Like Gandhi.
Gandhi is a great example.
He achieved incredible things peacefully.
Stood up to an empire without any real power.
Just his unwavering belief and the faith of millions.
Shows you, real power comes from within.
That's the heart of Think and Grow Rich, tapping into that inner strength.
So, as we wrap up, let's go over those key takeaways. It all starts with desire, right?
That burning desire that drives you.
But you got to have faith too. Unshakable belief in yourself.
Believe it's possible, even when it seems impossible.
And Hill says, we can build that faith through autosuggestion.
Repeat those positive affirmations.
Visualize your success. Train your mind to expect it.
Feed it positive beliefs instead of doubt and fear.
And then, of course, take action.
Turn those thoughts into concrete steps.
Like Schwab, planning meticulously, negotiating strategically.
He made his vision a reality. Didn't just dream it, he did it.
Desire, faith, and action. That's the formula.
And Blair's story, it really brings those principles to life.
From being told he'd never hear to helping others overcome the same challenges.
It's inspiring.
It is. Think and Grow Rich. It's about more than just money. It's about living a life of purpose, achieving the extraordinary.
We all have that potential.
So as we finish our deep dive, let's leave our listeners with a question. Hill says thoughts can be things, right?
What kind of thoughts are you planting in your mind?
And how are those thoughts shaping your reality, your future? Something to think about. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you found some inspiration in Hill's wisdom.